All right, hey, fourth graders. So we're going to review quite a few things, but also learn a new way to count and learn a few new things as well, since y'all are fourth grade. So basic review, we've got our quarter note. Okay, if you don't know how to spell it, there it is. But instead of saying ta, like you might normally count it, we're going to start, this is the old school like symbol for number, the hashtag or tic-tac-toe, pound. But whatever beat it falls on in the measure, you're going to say that. So let's say it falls first, then you would say 1. Okay, if it comes second, you would say number 2. Okay, it's going to get a number, whatever it is, wherever it is in our measure. With eighth notes, okay, you notice that the number comes first, and this is a shorthand like a plus sign or an and. So we're going to say the and because it comes on the up beat, okay? If you're ever tapping your foot goes down and then it has to come back up before it goes down again. So when your foot goes down, that's actually the down beat, that's the number, okay? That's the strong beat. And then the up beat, we use and. So instead of saying T, T, we would now say 1 and if it came first, or 2 and, 3 and, 4 and, wherever it fell in the measure. Okay, our rest still gets silent, so you could think whatever number it is just silently, okay, since both quarters get the same amount of time, just the note is sound and the rest is silence. Okay, with our half note, instead of saying ta-ah, we're going to say 1, and you have to hold it out. We're not going to say 2 because now that adds another sound. So where this gets tricky is if it comes first, we would say 1, like 1, and hold it out for 2 beats. Or if there's something first, we might say 2 or 3, 4. You get the idea. Same thing with our half rest, okay? 2 beats of silence, okay? Our whole note, obviously it would come first, but 1, you now have to hold that syllable for 4 whole beats, okay? You should recognize our whole rest, okay? 4 beats of silence. Now, if you get these two mixed up, our half rest and our whole rest, there's an easy trick to remember. This one looks like a hat. Half and hat start with the same 2 letters, or if you think of it like this, you've got a line for each of these, okay? And in our half rest, the rectangle goes up. There's 2 letters in the word up for 2 beats. In our whole rest, the rectangle goes down. Down has 4 letters for 4 beats. So that's an easy trick. Which direction does it go? Okay, now on our next board, bam, okay, lots of words in this one. Okay, you should be familiar with 16th notes. Okay, that's new from last year. But instead of saying ticka ticka, wherever it is, okay, the number always comes first, okay? So 1, E, and, okay, if you remember our eighth notes, we now have to say 1 and, 2 and. Well, this is where it fits in, okay? The number and the and sign, okay? We're now just squeezing in E and in the middle. So if we were to get our tap on, you would say 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and, okay? Now you might get a measure with 4 groups of 16th notes, but you get the idea. Review for our meters, you should be reviewing 2/4 and 4/4. We're adding 3/4 this year. 2/4, that top number, whichever number is on top, okay, it looks like a fraction, but whatever number is on top, that tells you how many beats are in each measure. Okay, measure being the group of notes that are together. So in 2/4, you're only going to count to 2, so you should never be saying 3 or 4. Okay, same thing for 4, you got to use all 4 numbers. Okay, we're not stopping at 3, we're not stopping at 2, you don't even say 5. Okay, and same thing for 3/4. You stop at 3, there is no 4, and we don't stop at 2. So just making sure that the number on top is how many numbers, how many beats you're getting in all of them. Now this bottom number so far has remained the same. The 4 means our quarter note is the beat. One way to remember it is there are 4 quarters in $1, so the 4 represents our quarter. Or if you think of fractions, 2 quarters, which would translate to a half, but it doesn't work the same in music, or 4 quarters or 3 quarters. Okay, so 4 is quarter, and it means that gets the beat. So our quarter note is still getting that ta, but Now we're switching to numbers. So every quarter note gets a number. And you just thought that might have been it. But there's a few more things that I want to go over with you, okay, that are new. You are familiar with eighth notes being connected by a beam. In music, this thing across is a beam. Well, now you're in fourth grade. There's another way to recognize eighth notes, okay? If they are not connected, which will keep them side by side for now, but instead of being connected with a beam, if they are by themselves, they have a flag, okay? And so just imagine like they're turning around and then they're holding hands. Oh my goodness. Okay, so connected by themselves. They are exactly the same thing. They are counted exactly the same way. So we would say one and, okay? Same thing. Just think of these are connected, these are not, okay? There you go. Whew. Now that's just eighth notes. Those are the exact same thing, but now we have to combine eighth notes and 16th notes as if things did not get rough at all. So I'm going to draw something real quick. I'm going to make this a little oversized so you'll see what I'm talking about here. So 16th notes fit in our eighth notes. Okay, now do remember, if you see these, those are just eighth notes. What makes them 16th notes is that second beam going across. When we count them, we've got whatever number and our and sign. But remember, with 16th notes, we have to squeeze in the E and the Now do realize that the first note will always be the same. In 16th note, the third one goes with the second. You see how I made those a line? Now I want you to we're going to put an imaginary dotted line separating them out in half. Okay, you're about to learn 3 different combinations. We'll start with 2 today. Now if I were to take the first eighth note from this one, that means I can't do these. I'm going to combine them with the last 2 16th notes. So I'm going to say one and okay, I can't use E because if you look at our chart, the 2 16th notes fit in the 1 8th note. So if I'm going to redraw that out, it's 3 now, and this is where it gets very tricky. The first one is the 8th note. The last 2 are the 16ths. So I've got to only put the second beam in the last 2. So when we take those together, remember the number, because it could come first, second, third, fourth, it depends on our meter, whatever that number is, and then okay? Important that we keep that order together. And that almost looks like a tuss, so I'm going to make my and sign a little more different. Now let's say that I want to reverse it. I want to start off with 16th notes, but then I have to end with my 8th note. Almost the same. We just got to draw them first. Okay, but now we've got to connect our 2 16th notes with our beam. So whatever that number is, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 E, but then our and comes afterwards. So if you ever see 3, just remember that first one is always going to be our number, okay? Then you've got to look, where is that 16th note, okay? So if we're just to tap with our beat, I'm going to start off with just the 8th notes and then 16ths, and then I'll do these as an example. You'll get to hear how they align, okay? 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and, okay? Now I'll do 4 16th notes. Here I go. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay, now I'm going to do this top one. Now when we name them, we call them 1/8, 2 16ths, because that's the order it is. Okay, ready and set, and here I go. 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. okay? It almost seems like you're pausing a little before the 16th notes, okay? Now we'll do the 2 16th-eighth combination because the 16th comes first, okay? Ready and set, and here I go. 1E and, 2E and, 3E and, 4E and. With this one, it seems like you just say the first three, and because it's longer, it connects that to it. So pause first, pause last. Okay, now there is one more combination. If 1/8 is the same thing as 2 16ths together, technically what I could do is I could squeeze these two in the middle together and replace it with one of those eighth notes. I know your minds are probably blown right now. So what I'm going to do is down here, we're going to draw 3 more. But this is probably the trickiest one. Where do you connect them? Well, you can't really connect them if the eighth is in the middle. So we're going to like kind of go around it. So we've got 16th, 8th, 16th combination. So same rule applies. It comes first, so that's our number. Okay? Now, what comes after the number? Well, the E, we just don't have the and anymore. So we're going to just have the E. Okay? If you're like, I need the and in there, we can put it underneath because it's combining the two together. Okay? If that helps. And then our last one, and a way to remember this is it's going in. Our last one goes in. It must be a. So 1E, a. Okay, if you're going to break it down, think of da, 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 1E, a, 1E, a. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my metronome here. This does not do subdivision, which is what we might need. So, okay, 1, 2. So 1E and pretend these are 16ths. Okay, 1E and 1E, 1E, or 2E, 3E. So this gets the pause in the middle. It's tricky because it's not at the beginning or at the end. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate all 3 of these so you really hear the difference in this last one, okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now this next one, here I go. 1E, or I just messed that up. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Here I go. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and. Okay, now this last one, here I go. 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E. Again, this is the trickiest one. Okay, so if you're like, the other 2 I can get right now, the last one not so much, it's okay. Have no fear. It's a lot. I know it's a lot to do all at once, but we'll work through it. No worries. Now there's one more that you gotta learn. And you might be like, oh, another one? I know. This one's real easy. We're gonna start with our half note, okay? How many beats does that get? Gotta get this back, 2, okay? 2. We're gonna talk about the rule of dot, okay? This is now a new note. It no longer gets 2. Oh, there's an announcement. Or that was the end bell. Okay, yeah, because I'm here alone. All right, so half note gets 2 on its own, but now we have this dot. So the dot means, because it can be after any note and any rest. I'll kind of show you how we do that with the rest here in a little bit. But this dot means you take whatever it is, which is the half note, cut it in half. Well, what's half of 2? 1. So now that dot represents 1. I gotta add them together. This note gets 3 beats total. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now it's called a dotted half note. Why? Because it is a half note that is dotted. So dotted half note. Now, this is how we put it into context. If we are in a meter of 4/4, that means 4 beats, okay? And we're counting quarter notes. So that's 1, 2, 3 quarter notes. You could have a rest at the end, so 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, of silence. Or we could put it here at the beginning. Or it could be 2 eighth notes or 4 sixteenths, okay, whatever gets 1 beat. So 1, and then it would be 2, 3, 4, okay? Now, this could take up an entire measure of 3/4 if this was changed to 3, okay, that would totally work. But we cannot have it in 2/4 because it gets more than 2. So here's how we apply it to a rest. And if you wanted 3 beats of silence, okay, you take our half rest. It gets 2 by itself. And we're gonna add that dot because the dot means you take the 2, cut it in half, and that's how much the dot is. That's 1, add them together. Now it's 3 beats of silence. So if you wanted 3 beats and you didn't want to draw the squiggly quarter note because that one can be hard to draw, you can do this and it would work out. 3 beats of silence. So 4th graders, I know that was a lot and a lot to go over. You've got this. We're gonna do some questions and counting practice, and don't worry, it will get easier. I know it's a lot all at once. Y'all got this. Okay, I wanted to show y'all a few beat reminders. So all the different combinations and notes that we have learned that get 1 beat. So we've got our quarter note, 1 beat, quarter rest, 1 beat, 2 eighth notes, whether they are combined or separated, they get 1 beat, 1 beat, 1 beat. When they're separate, remember there must be 2, just like there are 2 here that are connected. Our 4 16th notes all get 1 beat in any of the combinations of eighth notes and sixteenths that we have learned. But in each of these, there's 1/8 and 2 sixteenths. 1/8, 2 sixteenths, and 1/8 and 2 sixteenths. Each of these will all get 1 beat. Okay, it's just important for us to remember. Okay, and now shrink all of the note combinations and notes that get 2 beats. So our main ones are our half note, gets 2 beats, and our half rest. Remember that hat or the rectangle that goes up, okay? 2 letters and up and 2 beats, okay? So they both get 2. And then I've got a few examples of combinations. So if you see 2 quarter notes, that's 1 and 1, that's 2. Same thing with the rests. Or if we have 2 sets of eighth notes, or 2 sets of 16th notes. Remember, all 4 of these get 1. All 4 of these get 1. So 1 and 1 is 2. 1 and 1 is 2. Okay, so just a few examples on what gets 2 beats. And then a couple of examples on what gets 3 beats. Our main one being our dotted half note. Remember that half note normally gets 2. The dot means cut 2 in half and add it. So 2 plus 1, that's 3. And remember, with our rule of dot, we can do it to our half rest as well. So our dotted half rest gets 3 beats. And then I did a couple of combinations. So you can do 1, 2, 3, that gets 3. They can even be different. Quarter rest, 2 eighth notes, 4 16th notes, 1 beat, 1 beat, 1 beat, that's 3. Then a half note plus our quarter note, okay, that's 3 beats. So there's many more combinations that get 3, but here are just a few examples. And then finally, reminder on what gets 4 beats, okay? So we've got our whole note, whole rest. Remember our rest, our rectangles going down. D-O-W-N, 4 letters, 4 beats of silence. So they each get 4. And then different combinations, okay? So we've got a quarter note and rest, 2 eighth notes, and a quarter note again. That's 4 beats total. Here I included all of our different 16th notes and 16th note combinations. 4, or it's 4 total, so 4 16th notes, 1 beat. Our combo, 1 beat, 1 beat, 1 beat. So that's 4. It's a little bit longer, but 1 beat each, okay? And look, if you see they're all grouped together, it kind of is a clue right there. Our dotted half note, 3 beats plus our 1, so that's 4. 3 beats plus our 1, that's 4. And then remember here, if they are connected or separated, they are the same. So 2, that's 1 beat plus 2 beats for our half rest, and then 1 beat. So 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So those are just beat reminders. So if you need to go back and pause or look at all the different notes and combinations, you can do that. Hey, fourth grade. So this is going to be a lot. Already you can see that we're starting off with our meter of 2/4. So 2 beats in every measure, and we've got 2 lines. Okay, so here's our first measure with our half note, which gets 2 beats. Then we've got our measure line. Eighth notes, that's 1, 2, line, 1 E and D. So 16th notes right here, that's 1 beat. We have 2 eighth notes, okay? Remember, they are the exact same, just separated, and so they're flags. So we're gonna count them the same, then our measure line. Then after we do the top row, you're gonna come down to the second line, and this is where we get some of our new combinations. So remember, that's 1 and if you look at it, it looks like our eighth note. So 1 and D, okay, 2 and D. Then we've got a little bit of a break. You've got 2 beats of rest, okay, for our half rest. Remember that hat rectangle is going up. Up has 2 letters, 2 beats of silence. And then 1 E and, 2 E and, so our 16th notes come first this time, okay? And then we end with our half notes. So I'm gonna actually go a little bit slower than Largo because I know it's a lot. And here is our click. So first we're gonna count it, and then we're gonna add our claps to it. So counting only, here we go. 1, 1 and, 1 E and a 2 and, 1 and a 2 and a, 1 E and, 2 E and 1. Okay, so I know that might have been a lot, especially going from the top line to the bottom line. Okay, we're gonna do it again. I'll slow it down just a little bit more. We need a little bit more time between each one, okay? So counting again. Oh, and remember, when we're holding out, even though it gets 2 clicks, okay, 2 beats, we're only holding out that first syllable, that first number, okay? Ready, set, and here we go. 1, 1 and, 1 E and a 2 and, 1 and a 2 and a, 1 E and, 2 E and 1. Okay. Now, if you are struggling with some of it, it's a lot. A lot of it is new, so that's okay. Just do your best, and we're gonna clap it this time, okay? Ready and set, and here we go. 1, 1 and, 1 E and a 2 and, 1 and a 2 and a, 1 E and, 2 E and 1. Okay. Now, if you need some more time on this and you're struggling with some of that, I totally understand. A lot of it is new, but this was just a few measures in 2/4, okay? And we are now gonna switch over to a board on 3/4, so pause if you need it. This one has some of our other ones, our other new ones that we've just learned. Okay, so now we're in 3/4, so it's 3 beats now in every measure. So we start off with our dotted half. Remember, that dot means you take the original value, which is our half note, that's 2 beats, cut it in half, and that's the dot, and you put them together. So that's 3 beats, so holding it out. Now we've got our 2 combinations back to back, okay? So when you go to count it, 1 and a 2 E and, okay? Gotta make sure that there's no hesitation right here, okay? Then 3, then I give you a little breather, 2 beats of silence, 3 and then quickly, because it gets started again, okay, with the bottom row. Now here's where I added our third, more tricky combination of eighths and sixteenths. So when you go to count it, 1, and remember that gets 2, so we're going to start our next number, which is 3. So 3E, okay, 3E, and if you need to like silently to yourself say and, like 3E, or 3E and, okay, hold it out a little bit, that is fine. However helps you, okay, that'll be good. Then another half rest, quarter note, and then I end you on our dotted half note again, so making sure we hold that all out. So we'll keep it slow, but now we're getting our 3, 2, 3 right here. So you have the high, low, low. Let's count it first. Ready, go. 1, 1 and a 2E and 3. 3 and 1, 2E and a 1, 3E up, 3, 1. Okay, how'd you do? I know this might have been a tricky spot, and this might have been a tricky spot, and even switching over from the top to the bottom sometimes can get tricky, but we're gonna do it again. Now, if you made several mistakes, it's okay. Focus on making one of those better, at least one, okay? If you got most of it right, see if you can do it again, okay? Our goal is to get as many as we can. And again, this is not, you don't have to get it all right now. We're gonna keep on reviewing these as we go throughout the year, okay? Ready, set, and go. 1, 1 and a 2E and 3. 3 and 1, 2E and a 1, 3E a 3, 1. Okay, now we're going to add claps. I know this adds another level of difficulty, but do the best that you can. Okay, you've got this. Ready, set, and go. 1, 1 and a 2E and 3. 3 and 1, 2E and a 1, 3E a 3, 1. Woo, how'd you do? Okay. Now, if you're like, that was a lot, rewind and do the clapping again. In this video, for time's sake, we're going to, get our 4 out here. Okay, so didn't do as much of the new stuff in here, kind of give you a little bit of a break, but 4. So now we have 4 beats in every measure. Okay, whole note, remember those get 4. We couldn't have the whole notes or our whole rests in 2/4 or 3/4 because they wouldn't fit. Okay, think about each measure. How do we count it? What do we say? Okay, and not speeding up and making sure we hold everything out. So what we'll do, that's 4. These are simpler. We'll bring it back to Largo. Okay. Challenge, let's just clap and count this one together. Okay. Ready, set, and here we go. 1, 1 and 3. 1E and a 4. 2 and 3 and 4. 1E and a 2E and a 3. How'd you do? Okay, with numbers it can get a little tricky. Remember with this rest, that's on beat 2 because 2 comes after 1 and. So we don't say 2 here. We say 3, hold it out for the 4th as well. Then you start over with 1. Every time you get to a line, you just start over with 1 again. So same thing here. We did our 1E and with our 16th notes. 2, 3 is silent. So if you need to just say those numbers in your head, that's fine. That's what I do. It's the easiest way to keep track of where you are. And then 4 comes after that, okay? Same thing here. You're starting over with a new line, but 2 comes after 1. And then that's kind of a nice little break. And remember, 1 E and a, 2 E and a. Okay, make sure we try and get all of those syllables out. It will help keep us a little better. And then you're holding 3 again. Let's clap and count it again. Make something better. Or if you got it all the first time, see if you can do it again. Okay. Ready, set, and here we go. 1. 1 and 3. 1 E and a. 4. 2 and 3 and 4. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3. Okay, how'd you do? Hopefully you did better. Again, if you need to rewatch this one or revisit the 2-4 or 3-4 examples, go for it. And that's a lot, y'all. That is a lot of stuff that's new this year. So remember, we had our 8th notes that are separated. They're exactly the same as connected. We have our 8th and 2/16 combination, our 16ths and 8th combinations, as well as our 8th in the middle of 2/16, kind of like a little sandwich combination, and our dotted half note that gets 3 beats, okay? So a lot of new stuff. Review what you need to. Y'all have got it. All right, 4th grade. So I know a whole lot has been added or changed to what you already knew about rhythm. So see if you can come up with your own measures and different combinations of notes. So now that you're using 8th notes that are separated, and we've learned about the dotted half note as well as the combinations of 8th note 16ths, just know that each of those combinations get 1 beat each, and see if you can create different measures of 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4 meters. And you can say them out loud, you can clap them, share them with your class, but to take it to the next level, see if you can draw them out. So if you need help with drawing them, you can rewind back to the beginning of the video and pause to see the different notes. Yeah, so get creative.